Will Smith clearly has his eyes on the prize for the Oscar this year, and I'm fairly certain he'll probably get at least a nomination. His performance as Richard Williams is pretty good, mainly because he doesn't feel like Will Smith playing the same character he plays in everything. He walks and talks completely differently to the man we see on the red carpet, and it's often hard to recognise him as the man that was once the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. However, at the end of the film, there's a really well edited montage of the real Williams family, and this reveals just how woefully miscast Smith was. The real Richard Williams looks completely different to Will Smith, and I feel like had Smith not been involved in this project and they'd cast someone more appropriate like Idris Elba, then we may have got a more honest depiction of the Williams patriarch. As Smith is the star, his character has to be seen as the one on the moral high ground, but if King Richard was more from the perspective of Serena and Venus, I don't think you'd be able to show him as positively. The title too adds questions. Richard is never referred to as King in the film. This feels like an addition made by Will Smith to make the character he's playing even more glorious. Though, as mentioned before, his performance is great, so it's worked out for him as it was always going to. However, the standout performance for me was from John Bernthal, who plays Rick Macy, one of the coaches of the Williams sisters. This is not to say that Bernthal is necessarily the best performance in the film, but what he does in this film is in such stark contrast to his other characters that it has just got to be mentioned. Of course, Bernthal is perfect as Frank Castle, but here he's the polar opposite of the Punisher, and this just shows how much talent the man has. He's one of the most underrated actors working, and sadly this performance will most likely be overlooked as it's contained within a Will Smith Oscar bait vehicle. The film as a whole is very well put together. It's got lively direction and editing with a soundtrack that weaves quite nicely from an exhilarating original score to a well selected jukebox soundtrack. King Richard does make you care a lot for the characters on screen. The Williams sisters are all well performed for child actors and written so you do feel for them as they make their journey into sports stardom. There's a lot of scenes throughout the film where Richard Williams is being needlessly stubborn, and these are always frustrating to watch as it often feels like Venus and Serena's careers hang in the balance, despite the fact we all know that there's nothing to actually worry about given where they are now. King Richard is a pretty good film that serves all the purposes it was designed for. It will undoubtedly get Will Smith an Oscar nomination, it tells the less widely known story of Richard Williams, and entertains for the most part. There's a lot of the film that feels like it's slightly sugarcoating the truth, and this is undoubtedly due to the direct involvement of the Williams family, and it can feel a bit overlong, but ultimately if you like this kind of film then you certainly won't be disappointed. King Richard gets a Deight score of 7. Happy dating, you loners.